After a single mom pleaded for leftovers, the billionaire's incredible act unveiled life-changing. Mia stood in line at the soup kitchen, a punch in the gut with every passing moment. As the sun dipped behind the skyline of Chicago, she could already feel the heaviness in her chest. The past year had turned her life into a relentless cycle of work and worry. 2 jobs just to scrape together rent, bills, and enough food for her 2 little ones. She was chasing after hope, but it felt like the harder she tried, the more it slipped through her fingers. When her husband left without a word, he took with him the last of her dreams. Now, standing amid the vibrant chaos of the soup kitchen, the laughter in the air felt like a cruel joke and echo of what she longed for but couldn't have. That day, Mia caught herself eyeing the leftovers like a lifeline. She was grateful for the help but wished it didn't taste like defeat. As she waited, her gaze caught a few of the patrons who sat with judgment written all over their faces. Their eyes ran over her like fingers trailing down her dignity. The familiar sensation of shame crept in. "Look at her," she heard one woman whisper, "that's what happens when you can't keep your family together." Something snapped inside Mia. She felt her cheeks heat, adrenaline coursing through her. She turned, her voice steady. "You don't know my story." It came out more boldly than she intended. Gasps flittered around her, but she stood her ground. The moment hung heavy, the eyes of onlookers piercing through her. And then there was Jack, sitting at the far end of the room, his gaze trained on her. This billionaire, who didn't belong here, found himself captivated by her spirit. He knew all the corner office whispers about worth and importance, but witnessing Mia's defiance ignited something within him. He couldn't look away. Before Mia could catch her breath, Jack approached her. "I admire your strength," he said softly, electricity sparking between them. It was unexpected the way his sincerity washed over her like a warm blanket in winter. "Maybe I can help." An outstretched hand, a promise. But the world around them felt ready to pounce. This wasn't a fairy tale. Those like him and those like her rarely crossed paths. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With Jack's offer hanging in the air, a passerby caught sight of them, eyebrows raised in judgment. Mia felt the heat on her face. Was she now dirtying his reputation? Mistrust flared inside her. She turned, unable to look at Jack, the moment now twisted into something she never wanted. "I can handle this on my own," she muttered, backing away, her heart racing. For Mia, the tangled threads of their encounter posed an uncomfortable question that echoed through the vibrant chaos of the soup kitchen. Could she trust him? Could a person like her ever really bridge the divide with someone like him? The judgments of those around her began to creep in, thickening the air. Would their connection crumble under the weight of misunderstandings? Or could they find a way back to each other, tangled together by resilience and hope? As the sounds of laughter and community echoed on, Mia stood on uncertain ground, her world uncertain yet again. Mia turned quickly, nearly colliding with the table as she found her footing, her heart racing. Each sympathetic glance from the crowd felt like an anchor, dragging her deeper into a whirlpool of doubt. She didn't want help. She didn't want pity. She wanted to care for her children and give them the life they deserved, all on her own. But each job was like a thin layer of ice beneath her feet she could crack at any moment. Jack's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. "Wait," he reached toward her instinctively, concern etched across his handsome features. "Please. I didn't mean to offend you. I just wanted to offer." Mia took a deep breath, the tang of the soup kitchen's stale air filling her lungs. "I don't need your help," she managed, though the quiver in her voice betrayed her. "I'm fine. I just need to get through this." But did she believe that? Jack stepped back slightly, allowing her space, but there was a determination in his eyes. "Maybe you don't have to be fine all the time. Everyone goes through hard times, Mia. His use of her name felt oddly personal, like an invitation to renewed hope. The lines on his face softened, the billionaire demeanor fading for a moment, revealing a man who cared. It struck her how genuine he sounded. For a split second, the heaviness of despair lifted like a curtain at a play, revealing a light she hadn't noticed before. Around them, the soup kitchen buzzed with conversation, the clinking of spoons and laughter mixing with the aroma of simmering broth. Yet within that vibrancy, she felt alone, and yet strangely connected to Jack. What was it about him? Look, I know I'm not from your world, Jack continued, his voice steady. But I can help you find better resources. Support. Maybe even a job where you don't have to work two at once. Just give me a chance. Mia's insides twisted with desire. A part of her longed to reach out, to take that hand, but the other part barked warnings at her. Trusting someone could break her more than she already was. She was a mother first. Her kids had to come first. What if you can't solve everything? What if this is just a moment? Then what? I can't drag my kids through more pain, she whispered, her voice trembling. Tears threatened to spill, blurring her vision of Jack's earnest expression. Life is rarely that easy, he replied quietly, compassion flowing from him like warmth. But isn't it worth trying? You deserve more, and so do your kids. His words hit her like a brick. She felt the walls around her heart begin to crack open, sunlight peeking through. Could it really be that simple? Maybe I could use a little help, she said softly, her breath hitching with vulnerability. But on my terms. The hope in Jack's eyes shimmered brighter, and she wondered if they could find some common ground. As Jack smiled, a mixture of relief and determination danced across his face. Suddenly, the bell above the door jingled loudly, slicing through their fragile moment. A woman entered, panic etched into her features. Emergency at the youth shelter. They need volunteers now. She called out, urgency thick in her voice. Jack snapped his attention toward her, and Mia felt the moment shift. Duty beckoned, and she could see him grappling with the choice of helping her or responding to the call of those in need. Go, she said firmly, surprising even herself with the conviction. I'll be okay. The confusion in Jack's eyes flickered, then transformed into admiration. I'll be back, he promised, before rushing toward the exit. As his footsteps faded away, Mia stood still, the energy in her chest swirling with unfamiliar excitement. Was the chance of something better arresting her familiar despair? But what would happen next? Mia stole a glance at the crowd, feeling those eyes upon her again, some softening, some narrowing. Would she become one of the faces spit on in judgment? Or could she carve a new path for herself? As the soup kitchen hummed in the background, she realized she was at a crossroads. The question lingered in the air, filling her with both fear and promise. Would she embrace the storm within herself, or hide away yet again when life pushed back? Mia stood frozen, the echoing footsteps of Jack fading into the distance. The chatter of the soup kitchen swirled around her like a distant storm, alive with chatter, laughter, and the comforting clinks of metal utensils. She clenched her fists, feeling the heat of vulnerability rise within her. The moment with Jack had felt pivotal, a flicker of something new pushing against the gloom that had hovered over her life for too long. She felt the weight of the crowd's gaze, some faces tight with judgment, others with curiosity. Mia swallowed hard, her throat thickening with emotion. Could she really take a step into the unknown? She had always prided herself on being self-reliant, fiercely independent after the abrupt change life had dealt her. Bringing her children into that bed of possibility meant leaving behind the safety she'd built around herself. Taking a slow, shaky breath, she looked around. The soup kitchen was a hub of resilience, filled with people trying to lift their circumstances, much like herself. She spotted a mother across the room, cradling a baby in tattered clothing. They were sharing a laugh, that moment of joy in the midst of struggle echoing her earlier thoughts with Jack. Maybe she wasn't alone after all. Her heart sank and lifted simultaneously. Maybe it was the right time to lean on others, to let her defenses fall. Still, doubt nagged at her. She couldn't take risks that could compromise her children's safety or well-being. Perhaps that was her answer: keep fighting, keep pushing forward alone. Mia shook her head. There had to be a balance, a way to accept help and still keep her independence. Before she could spiral into the abyss of her thoughts, a voice broke through. Excuse me, are you all right? A volunteer stood in front of her, a young woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, holding a steaming bowl. You look like you could use a little something to eat. Mia took the bowl, nodding as gratitude flooded her senses. Thank you. I appreciate it. As she took a seat at a corner table, she could hear snippets of conversations around her. Stories of struggle, triumph, and the simple yet profound connections formed in shared spaces like this. It stirred an ember of hope within her, a reminder that humankind often stood stronger together. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to harness that sensation. Jack's words echoed in her thoughts, nudging at her walls. Could vulnerability be a strength, rather than a weakness? Mia felt her heart flutter, realizing it wasn't just about her anymore. It was about being the example for her kids, showing them that it was okay to ask for help, that strength came in different forms. In that moment of reflection, she made a decision. If Jack returned, she wouldn't shy away from exploring the options he had placed on the table. No matter the direction, she could still be the fierce protector of her family while taking steps toward a better future. Suddenly, the bell above the door jingled again, and Mia's heart jumped. Jack stormed back in, his face flushed with urgency. I'm back! He exclaimed. I couldn't just leave without checking in on you. Mia searched his eyes, seeing the determination within. Could he truly help her rise? But as she opened her mouth to speak, the door swung open yet again, and another volunteer rushed in, out of breath. We need more hands out back. The pantry is running low, and we can't keep up. The room shifted as people began to move, an undercurrent of energy rippling through them. Jack turned back to Mia, uncertainty flickering across his face. This isn't over, right? Mia felt the rush of emotion surge again as their eyes locked. The moment was electric, full of uncharted possibilities. Could she take this leap? With every fiber of her being, she nodded slowly. Let us see where this leads. But before they could engage further, the energy in the soup kitchen shifted in a way Mia hadn't been prepared for, sending waves of uncertainty crashing over her heart once again. Are you ready to step into the unknown? She silently questioned herself, droplets of fear mixing with glimmers of hope, leaving her to wonder just how far she was willing to go. Jack hesitated, glancing between Mia and the frantic volunteer. The urgency in the air hung heavy, almost suffocating. She could see the wheels turning in his mind, the desire to help battling with the pressure of the moment. She felt a swell of appreciation for his determination, a small lifeboat in the sea of turmoil swirling around her. Let us go, Mia said, her voice firmer than she felt. She stood, the bowl still warm in her hands but now forgotten. Jack followed without question, the current of action guiding both of them toward the back of the kitchen. As they moved, Mia's heart raced. The back of the kitchen was a flurry of bodies, a coordinated chaos where volunteers raced to fill plates and distribute food. She found herself swept into it, the rhythm of movement igniting something within her. It felt good to be a part of something bigger than herself, to lend a hand where needed. Over there! Jack called, pointing to a stack of empty containers that needed to be filled. Mia darted away, her hands instinctively working as she assembled plates, layering each one with generosity, hoping to feed more than just hunger. She stole glances at Jack, who was immersed in his own tasks. His focus sharpened her resolve. Together, they were part of a mission greater than either of them alone. Time slipped away, a blur of laughter, gratitude, and the unyielding scent of simmering broth. As they worked side by side, she began to see glimpses of the man Jack truly was. He didn't just want to help. He needed to be a part of the community. The energy radiated off him, infectious and warm. She couldn't help but smile at his enthusiasm, her fear ebbing slightly with every spoonful served. Eventually, they paused, breaths steaming in the cool air as they surveyed the scene. It was chaotic but comforting, a survival echoing with shared humanity. When their eyes met across the bustling room, an unspoken connection sparked between them. It felt strong and real, as if they were both standing on the edge of something that could change everything. That was amazing, Mia said, wiping the sweat from her brow. I haven't felt like this in a long time. Jack nodded, glancing around the kitchen before turning his attention back to her. You're incredible. You know that? The sincerity in his voice sent a thrill through her, a mixture of pride and hope swelling in her chest. Before she could respond, another voice broke in. Hey, you two! It was the young volunteer from earlier, her cheeks flushed with excitement. We're running a bit low on volunteers today, and there's a group of kids who just came in. Mind helping with the remaining meals for them? Mia's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Jack, who seemed to be gauging her reaction. Was this her chance to take a step further? The crowd buzzed with camaraderie, each person a thread in a larger tapestry. With newfound resolve, Mia replied, absolutely. Let us do it. As they made their way toward the children, a question loomed in Mia's mind. Could this be the beginning of a new chapter, not just for her but for her kids too? As laughter and shouts filled the room, Mia's heart brimmed with possibilities, and suddenly the weight of her decisions bore down on her again. What would it mean to fully embrace the help and connection she was discovering? Jack's confidence beside her gave her strength, but she couldn't ignore the voice of doubt whispering in her ear. Could she truly let go of her fears and embrace this new life? Their fingers brushed as they reached for the same container, igniting a spark between them. In that moment, suspense hung in the air. Mia couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to unfold. Are you ready for this? Jack asked quietly, a teasing glance in his eye. Mia took a deep breath. I don't know, but I'm willing to try what's behind door number 2. With that, she leaned into the unknown, a step deeper into this evolving world, one that felt lighter with every choice she made. Would she find the courage to fully open herself up to this new path? The answer loomed just out of reach, a soft whisper pushing her forward into what lay ahead. The room buzzed with the vibrant chatter of children. Mia could hear snippets of laughter and playful shouts, a melody that stirred something deep within her. As she stepped forward, the sea of eager faces focused on her, excitement sparkling in their eyes. It felt like standing on a stage, and for the first time in years, she didn't mind the spotlight. Jack was at her side, his presence a reassuring warmth. Together, they approached the group, and Mia was filled with a sense of purpose. She accepted the stack of plates with both hands and smiled at the little ones who were eagerly awaiting their meals. Hey everyone! Who's ready for some delicious food? She exclaimed, her voice buoyant. Me! A chorus of voices shouted back, and the sight made her heart swell. Mia moved with Jack as they dished out plates, their hands working in rhythm, one filling, the other passing. She reveled in the simplicity of the task and the immediate joy it brought. Each child who received a plate beamed up at her, their eyes glinting with gratitude. It was a connection that transcended words, a reminder of shared humanity. Look! A little girl with bright pigtails exclaimed, looking at her plate. I got extra cookies! Mia chuckled, her worries fading like smoke. She was losing herself in the moment, the burdens of her past lightening as each plate exchanged hands. She glanced at Jack, catching his eye. He grinned back, and for a heartbeat, the world around them seemed to dissolve. But then, she felt the familiar grip of doubt creeping back in. What if this wasn't real? What if she was just chasing a temporary high? More than ever, she wanted to believe in these connections, yet the shadows of her fears whispered doubts. Could they truly forge a bridge from this moment to a more stable future for her kids? Mia, you okay? Jack's voice cut through her thoughts, soft and steady. I think so, she replied, taking a deep breath. I want this to mean something. I want it to last. Jack's expression softened. It will. You're doing amazing work here. Look at the smiles you're creating. This is more than just food, it's hope. His words hung in the air. Hope. It was a word that felt heavy yet hovering, a fragile thing she desperately wanted to clutch but feared might slip through her fingers. But what if I can't keep this up? What if my past keeps pulling me back? Jack stepped closer, his intensity dropping to a whisper. You don't have to do this alone. There's a whole community here ready to support you. Before she could respond, a sudden commotion interrupted their intimate moment. A boy yelled, bringing Mia's attention back to the group. He stood, hands on hips, frowning at the scant number of cookies left in the jar. We need more cookies, miss. The room erupted in collective agreement. Laughter and hopeful shouts filled the kitchen, electrifying the air. It was an innocent demand, yet for Mia, it echoed something much deeper. Jack chuckled, taking the lead. Okay, let us not disappoint. We'll make some more cookies. Who's in? Mia couldn't help but let out a laugh as the children clapped and cheered. It felt good. This wasn't just about distributing meals anymore. It was about engaging, creating, building together. As they raced back to the kitchen to gather ingredients, adrenaline surged through her, drowning out her hesitation. Working alongside Jack, they measured and mixed, chatting and teasing each other amidst the laughter of their young audience. With every scoop of flour and sprinkle of chocolate chips, Mia felt barriers breaking down, letting the bright joy of the moment envelop her. But as the cookies baked, the reality of her situation crept back into focus. Once the laughter faded, what would be left? Would this fleeting happiness sustain through the trials waiting beyond these walls? Just then, the timer pinged, pulling her from her thoughts. The warm smell of baked cookies curled around her, tantalizing and comforting. Ready? Jack asked her, lifting a tray of cookies to eye level as if they were treasure. Mia nodded, a renewed sense of determination rising within her. Yes. Ready for anything. As they walked back into the room, the jubilant faces of the children filled her with warmth. Yet a question lingered in her mind: could she truly embrace this community and fight against the past that threatened to drown her? When Jack turned toward her, his eyes sparkling with excitement, she realized this journey was just beginning. And it was one she was ready to face together. But as hearts raced and spirits lifted, a sudden hush silenced the room. Mia looked up, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. A stranger had entered, gaze lingering on her and Jack. What would this new arrival bring into the evolving landscape of their lives? The air thickened with tension, and her heart began to race once more. Mia's heart thudded in her chest as she stared at the newcomer. A tall man with steel-gray hair and a tailored suit stood just inside the doorway, surveying the room. The laughter that had filled the space moments ago faded into an uneasy murmur, children exchanging curious glances. Didn't he seem like the typical visitor to a community kitchen? Where was the warmth, the inviting spirit of what they were doing together? Instead, he appeared cool, calculating, surveying everything with keen eyes. Who's that? A little voice chimed from one of the tables, breaking the spell of silence. That's Mr. Whitman, Jack whispered back to Mia, his expression shifting from casual friendliness to cautious concern. He owns half the town. Mr. Whitman stepped forward, eyebrow raised ever so slightly. Mia could feel every child's gaze on him, a mixture of awe and confusion. She shifted the tray of cookies in her hands, suddenly feeling the weight of their reality. How could this man, this stranger, possibly understand the laughter, the hope, conjured from mere ingredients and shared time? Excuse me, everyone, Mr. Whitman said, his voice steady yet commanding. I couldn't help but notice your festive atmosphere. He looked directly at Mia, as if she were the only one in the room. What's going on here? Just a cookie party, Mia replied, forcing a smile and trying to sound cheerful. We're making cookies for the kids. His face softened just a fraction, but Mia caught the glint of something sharper behind it. Cookies, you say? And what is the purpose of this party? Just spreading joy, Jack chimed in, stepping forward instinctively. The kids were still watching, wide-eyed. We're helping children learn to cook and bond as a community. Mr. Whitman nodded slowly, his expression inscrutable. Interesting. And how do you plan to sustain this program? This joy? Mia's stomach twisted. She felt exposed under his scrutiny. We're just trying to make a difference, one meal at a time. Hope isn't a sustainable strategy, he replied, a hint of disdain woven into his words. Let us be realistic here. Mia clenched her fists around the tray. In the warmth of the kitchen, where joy flourished, his cold tone felt like a bucket of ice water. But she wouldn't back down. It's more than just food to us. This is about creating connections, community, and yes, hope. His gaze never wavered. There was something in it, pity. Doubt? Fostering hope is admirable. But there are more efficient ways to fund something like this, are there not? Children shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Mia could see fear flickering across their faces, and it pierced her heart. What do you mean? She asked, finding her voice despite the growing weight of the moment. Mr. Whitman leaned in slightly, eyes narrowing. Perhaps you could come and present your program to my board of foundations. You might be surprised at what we could offer if I were convinced it was worth the investment. The room swelled with tension. The children were silent now, sensing the significance of the moment. Mia felt a tangle of emotions. This could be a lifeline, or another challenge. She hesitated. And what's your stake in this? Why help us? He smiled slightly, but it didn't reach his eyes. I believe in opportunities, and sometimes investment yields bigger things. Mia's heart raced as she exchanged fleeting glances with Jack and the children. Was this a chance to transform everything, or just another trap? The excitement of cookies and laughter faded into a thick fog of uncertainty. Whether she took this ambiguous opportunity could alter the course of how she shared joy with these kids. Just think about it, Mia. Real change needs real resources, Mr. Whitman added smoothly. As he stepped back, the children began to talk amongst themselves, the noise swell rising again. But Mia remained silent, battling the whirlwind of possibilities in her head. Did that really just happen? Jack whispered, leaning closer to her. What are you thinking? Before she could answer, the weight of the new arrival loomed larger than before, shadows of hope and fear colliding within her. She wanted to chase after it, to explore this fork in the road, but what would it cost? Tension lingered as the cookies cooled, sweet and inviting. Yet inside, Mia felt the pulse of doubt. Could she trust this stranger, and dare to hope for a future defined not only by survival but also by joy? The more profound question hung between them like a time bomb. How far was she willing to go to protect the light she had finally found? Mia felt a flutter of anxiety in her stomach. Jack's wide eyes reflected the same uncertainty growing inside her. The air crackled with the weight of what was said, but Mia clung to the warmth swirling around her in the kitchen, hoping it might outweigh Mr. Whitman's chilling proposition. Okay, everyone, she called out, forcing enthusiasm into her voice. Let us focus on our cookies. Who wants to help with the frosting? If she could redirect their energy back to the love spread through their baking, it might quench the unease still lingering after Mr. Whitman's visit. A chorus of excited voices erupted, but the energy felt different. The laughter was more subdued, almost overshadowed by the lingering questions. Mia moved to the table, stacking ingredients with quick hands, but each sprinkle of colorful confetti felt heavy, weighed down by doubt. Do you really think you should go meet him? Jack asked, searching her eyes for reassurance. I mean, what if he's not what he seems? He couldn't be worse than what's already out there, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But he might be. Her thoughts trailed off, uncertain. Jack leaned against the counter. But what if he wants to change everything? Your vision, the kids, it could all get lost, he warned, his tone dipping into concern. Mia nodded, biting her lip. I know. She paused to look at the children who were curling their fingers into dough, grinning as they created perfectly imperfect cookies. It just hurts to think that the joy we've made could be at risk. What if he takes it away? Can you even trust him? Jack asked, his brows knitting in concern. I don't know. But these kids, Mia gestured around, her heart swelling and sinking in equal measure. They need this. They feel it. That's why I can't turn my back on it. Maybe you need to see more of what he offers, Jack said quietly, to know if it's worth the cost. He gave her a half-hearted smile, trying to lighten her mood. Besides, I'm here with you. Mia took a deep breath, letting the scent of warm cookies fill her lungs. Maybe we can go together. Just for an initial meeting. No commitment, she suggested, unexpected hope breaking through her doubt. Deal, Jack said, an encouraging smile breaking through. As long as you remember what you're fighting for. Their shoulders brushed as they began assembling the cookies together, the laughter of the kids creeping back up, nudging away the tension for a moment. But Mia couldn't shake the nagging doubt that rested in the back of her mind like a shadow, ever-present. As they decorated, Mia caught snippets of joy-filled chatter. "Look at mine!" exclaimed one child, aiming to show off their frosting masterpiece. Laughter erupted as they admired each other's creations. But as she basked in their joy, another thought invaded her mind. Was it really enough? The laughter faded into the background as a more troubling thought emerged. Did she have it in her to face off against someone who seemed so entrenched in the corporate world? What kind of sacrifices would she have to make? Just then, Mia glanced at the cookies they had made, slight smudges of frosting and all. It reminded her that imperfection was part of the process. Could she risk everything they built, knowing the danger that could come with success? And what if Mr. Whitman's offer would lead to compromises that could endanger the spirit of their community? With that, a heavy feeling settled in Mia's chest once more. How much was she willing to bend before breaking? The question churned in the air as the laughter echoed through the kitchen. "Hey, Mia!" a child called. "Can I help you with the next batch?" Mia swallowed hard. "Sure thing," she said brightly, forcing herself to focus back on the moment. Yet, the weight of choices loomed, each cookie a reminder of what was at stake, and as the kitchen buzzed with life, Mia felt an undercurrent, a call to action stirring within her. She needed to protect what they had built, and decide where she stood in this crossroads of hope and uncertainty. That night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Mia's thoughts consumed her. What would tomorrow bring? When her phone dinged with an alert, she hesitated. It was a message from Mr. Whitman, asking for a time and date to meet. Her heart raced as she opened it. Time to make a decision, Mia, she whispered to herself as a storm of emotions rose. Would this be the moment that defined everything? The next morning, the sun peeked through the curtains, casting soft beams across the room. Mia rubbed her eyes, feeling the weight of her decision pressing down on her. She rolled over to pick up her phone, the message from Mr. Whitman flashing back at her. Time waited for no one, and today, everything felt poised on the brink of change. After a hasty breakfast, she and Jack rushed through the door, their minds swirling with what lay ahead. The drive felt longer than usual, each second laden with anticipation. Mia's heart thudded in her chest, the space between them filled with unspoken worries. Jack's hand squeezed hers in reassurance. When they arrived at the cafe where they agreed to meet, Mia felt a jolt of anxiety hit her. The place was buzzing, a mix of conversation and the comforting aroma of fresh coffee. But today, it felt more overwhelming than inviting. She took a moment, closing her eyes, hoping to gather strength from the atmosphere that had always been a sanctuary. "Ready?" Jack asked quietly, his eyes searching hers. "Ready as I'll ever be," Mia replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. They stepped inside, and the bell above the door jingled a sound that seemed almost mocking in this moment of uncertainty. Mr. Whitman was already seated at a small table in the corner, an aura of confidence enveloping him. He was dressed sharply, a stark contrast to Mia's casual attire. As they approached, he stood up, extending a hand. "Mia, Jack, thank you for meeting with me." His voice was smooth, practiced. The way he looked at her felt both assessing and calculating. "Hi," Mia managed, motioning for Jack to sit first before joining him. "Let us get right to it," Mr. Whitman said, pulling a document from his portfolio. "You have something special here. I want to offer you resources to grow your program. Together, we can transform this community." Mia listened as he spoke, and despite his polished pitch, an unsettling feeling stirred within her. For every promise he made, she felt the other shoe waiting to drop. Jack leaned in, his eyes narrowed. "But at what cost?" he interjected, his protective nature flaring. "A great question," Mr. Whitman replied, unfazed. "With success comes change. But think of all you can achieve: the kids' future, funding for arts programs, classrooms filled with creativity." He laid out his vision with unwavering certainty, painting a picture that sparkled with potential. Mia's heart sank a little more as he continued, each word both tempting and terrifying. The possibility of expanding the program was too enchanting to dismiss entirely. But the risk stirred deep within her. And what would our community lose in the process? She asked challengingly. Nothing that wouldn't be necessary for a bigger goal, he said, as if it were obvious. Sometimes you need to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Mia felt a cold shiver run down her spine. Nothing was simple in decisions like this. They were talking about the heart of a community, the spirit she had worked so hard to nurture. I can't lose that. Her voice wavered slightly, revealing the deep conflict boiling beneath the surface. Then let us protect it together, he replied, a glint in his eyes that unsettled her. He leaned back, crossing his arms as if he held all the cards. We can create a balance that allows you to stay true to your roots. Or we can walk away right now. Jack shot her a worried look, an unspoken plea for her to remember why they were here. Mia took a breath, the weight of what was being offered pressing ever more heavily. Could she really trust him? Could his promises be genuine? Please, take your time to think about it, Mr. Whitman's voice cut through her thoughts, but it felt like a noose tightening around her choices. She nodded, knowing they wouldn't leave this cafe as the same people who walked in as they stood to leave. Mia glanced back at the table. The contract shimmered on the surface like a treasure, but its real value was lost on her. With each step outside, the warmth of the sun felt bittersweet against her skin. What do you think? Jack asked, his voice almost a whisper. I'm not sure, Mia said, the enormity of the decision ahead filling her with dread. But I need to understand what's really at stake. And as the hum of the cafe faded behind them, Mia felt the unease deepen. With every step, the question loomed larger. Would she sacrifice everything for the chance of something more? Tonight would bring clarity or perhaps another deeper layer of confusion. As she glanced back one last time, she knew that whatever path she chose might change everything they had worked so hard to build. Tomorrow is going to be pivotal, she said softly, steeling herself for what was to come. Mia and Jack drove home in silence, the weight of Mr. Whitman's offer clinging to the air like smoke. Every time Mia closed her eyes, she could see the contract, its edges crisp and sharp, threatening to slice through her dreams if she wasn't careful. Jack's hand remained steady on the gear shift, but she could sense his anxiety radiating like heat waves. Let us talk about it, he finally said, breaking the silence as they pulled into their street. I mean really talk. Mia nodded, her heart racing as they parked. What if it's a mistake? What if I ruin everything? You want tea? Jack's tone was firm, but his eyes softened. You're not going to run in and just sign it. We'll take our time. They walked inside, and the familiar warmth of their tiny living room surrounded them. Pictures of their community hung on the walls, snapshots of laughter and joy. Mia sat on the couch, picking up a framed photo of her students at last year's exhibition. What if we lose our focus? What if we stop caring about the kids? She asked, biting her lip. That's what I fear the most. Jack plopped down next to her, a determined look on his face. But this can expand what you're doing. Just imagine, more kids, more programs, more creativity blooming. I assent that what we've always wanted. Yeah, but at what cost? That question hung in the air, heavy and unresolved. Jack rubbed the back of his neck, his mind clearly racing. Look, we've spent years building something beautiful here. You've fought for every penny, every opportunity. Wouldn't it be worth it if Whitman helps us take it to the next level? He's charming and ambitious, but ambition can sometimes turn into a monster, she replied, her fingers trembling as she set the photo down. What if we get lost in the machinery of it all? Okay, Jack said, leaning closer, let us find out what's involved in this partnership. Maybe it could work without sacrificing our values. Maybe he's not as bad as you think. Mia mulled this over, feeling a storm of emotion swirl inside her. She wanted to believe him. The idea of bringing joy to the kids was exhilarating, but the nagging worry wouldn't fade. Promise me something? Anything, he replied, watching her carefully. If we ever feel like we're losing touch with who we are, we pull back. I promise, Jack said, and it almost felt like a vow. Instead of sleep, Mia lay awake, tossing and turning. She thought about how much the program had meant to the children and their families, how she wanted to do right by them. The thought of transforming lives was like a beacon, glowing in the darkness. But what if she became blinded by that light? As dawn broke, its gentle light sneaked in through the curtains, casting soft shadows. Mia knew she couldn't let fear control her. She had to be brave, but what kind of bravery would it be to embark on this journey with Mr. Whitman? When she finally got up and went to the kitchen, she found Jack making breakfast. He looked up with a smile, a warm plate in his hand, and for a moment, everything felt right. "Good morning. Planning to tackle that decision today?" he asked, his voice teasing yet encouraging. She took a breath, preparing herself for what would come next. "I think I need to meet with him again. But this time, I definitely need to ask the hard questions." Jack nodded, pride shining in his eyes. Mia felt the heat of determination surging through her. This wasn't just a decision about a program. It would define who she was and what she stood for. As the day unfolded, she made a mental note of the questions swirling in her mind, preparing for the confrontation she knew would shape everything. But even as she strategized, a deeper, darker question lingered. What about the parts of her soul that might be at stake? Her heart raced at the thought as she prepared to face Mr. Whitman again. Would she be able to stare into his calculating eyes and demand more than just a business deal? Little did she know, an unexpected twist awaited her that day, one that could shatter everything she'd built or forge an even stronger foundation amid the chaos. Would she be ready for it? The meeting room buzzed with the hum of conversation when Mia arrived, Jack by her side. The shift in her heart was palpable, a mix of anxiety and determination flowing through her. She looked around, taking in the expectant atmosphere. This wasn't just about her or even the program anymore. It was about standing firm for every child whose laughter had filled their kitchen, every dream that could either be nurtured or extinguished by a single signature. Today, she would take control. As Mr. Whitman entered, all eyes turned, and the room grew silent. He was a towering figure, the embodiment of confidence, but today, Mia was ready, not intimidated. "Thank you both for making time to meet again," he said, his words smooth like honey. They felt suffocating as they wrapped around her. "Before we begin," Mia interrupted, finding her voice stronger than before, "I need to make some things clear. What you proposed yesterday, which was an offer to elevate your program, I remind you," he interjected sharply, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. "Yes, I appreciate that. But I need to understand how my vision fits into your plans. This isn't just a business deal for me. It's about these kids, their futures. I wouldn't compromise the heart of what we've built." A tense silence dropped over the table. Jack's supportive presence seemed to thrum in the background, a silent cheerleader pushing her forward. Mia pressed on, feeling the resolve in her gut tighten. "Tell me," she continued, her voice steady, "what does your support really look like? What strings are attached?" Mr. Whitman leaned back, eyes sparkling with amusement. "You're surprisingly astute for someone running a community kitchen," he said, humoring her request. "The resources I can provide come with expectations of accountability and results. I intend to see progress, and I want that progress quantifiable." Mia felt the walls pressing in, as if the room were shrinking around her. "My community measures success in laughter and connections, not just numbers on a board. If you're asking me to prioritize data over the joy we spread, then I may have to say no." His eyes narrowed, trying to unearth her resolve. "You might be shortchanging your potential," he retorted, but there was an edge of begrudging respect in his tone. "And I might be saving my soul," Mia shot back, feeling fire ignite inside her. Jack nudged her gently, as if to say calm down, but she pressed on, buoyed by her growing confidence. "I need you to understand that relationships matter to me more than revenue. If your goal is purely expanding for profit without heart, that's not a direction I can follow." Whitman regarded her closely, a slow smile creeping across his lips. You're quite the formidable woman, Mia. I respect your passion. But be advised, this is business. I can offer you opportunities to elevate not just your vision but your community. You must decide if you can align your heart with the business world. He paused, letting his words sink in, but Mia wasn't finished. Just because it's business doesn't mean we have to lose warmth along the way. You talk about progress like it's an equation, but these kids are not numbers. They are dreams full of laughter, creativity, and potential. At that moment, Mia felt a shift in the room. She could see a few heads nodding, the realization hitting that they were all part of something greater. This wasn't just about Mia anymore. It was a fight for the souls of everyone who believed in what they were doing. Whitman leaned forward, intrigued. You're stirring something in the room, but can you convert it into action? If you reject connection at every turn, how can you expect to evolve? His challenge hung in the air, vibrating with intensity. Mia felt fear creeping in, but she turned it into strength. I can evolve while still keeping my roots grounded. I'll accept your help, but we do it on our terms. I want a partnership that values people over profit. The moment those perspectives clash, I'm walking away. There was silence again, but this time, it was charged with possibility. Fair enough, Mr. Whitman replied, a hint of admiration in his gaze. But I'll need your commitment, Mia, to rise to the challenge, to let me push you toward the future. She took a deep breath, feeling the warmth surge inside her as she recognized the power of her own voice and intentions. I commit to growing within our shared values. That's what makes us strong. Jack squeezed her hand, and she smiled back at him, the surge of hope enveloping her. Whitman nodded slowly, assessing her conviction, and finally said, You've got a unique perspective, Mia. Let us explore this partnership under those terms. I'll set up a plan that respects your community's vision. Mia felt the relief wash over her, but it didn't overshadow the weight of what lay ahead. They weren't just on a path for funding now, they were forging a new understanding that risked navigating uncharted waters together. As they wrapped up meeting, Mr. Whitman extended a handshake, and Mia took it with confidence. The exchange felt more than just a business deal. It felt like a pledge, not of ownership, but of shared responsibility and collective growth. Walking out into the sunlit streets, Mia felt lighter, the promises of hope swirling around her. She glanced up at Jack, his smile infectious, and for the first time in a long while, she felt truly optimistic. Believe that we can do this, he whispered, eyes sparkling with excitement. This is just the beginning. Yes, she replied, the future unfolding ahead. Together, we're going to make it something beautiful. And at that moment, as joy, courage, and community melded into a single path forward, Mia embraced the journey ahead. Each step felt certain and resolute, filled with the belief that the landscape of their lives, and the lives of those children they loved, would forever be transformed for the better. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. You need to let us know. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.